At the end of December 2012, our son came to me and said that he thought that he should expand his Blue Cross coverage because he thought he was going to have some type of arthroscopic surgery done on his knee. He asked me if I thought it was a good idea, and I said sure, and so he upped his insurance coverage. Well, fast forward, that was at the end of December, and on January the 28th of 2013, less than 30 days later, he woke up about 10 o'clock one Monday morning, and about 10 minutes after he woke up, he had a grand mal seizure. My husband was at home, and he called me, and we both agreed, he needed to go to the emergency room, and they were going to call me when they got there and got in. And before I could even get there from work, my son called and said they've done a CT scan, and they said I had stage 4 glioblastoma. We were transferred to USA Medical Center, and we were in the ER there, and the admissions person came where we were, and she said, I need to talk to you. She said whenever I called Blue Cross to see what his coverage was, they told me that since he had applied for a new coverage and it has not gone into effect, they were denying him all coverage based on a pre-existing condition. And I said, the brain tumor? And she said, yes, I'm sorry. And I said, so he has no insurance? And she said, no ma'am. And I said, okay, thank you. And at that moment, I just panicked. I all I could think of was he's going to have a biopsy and surgery and chemo and radiation and other medical things. What are we going to do? I mean, what do we do? At the time, we could not get the Affordable Care Act yet because he had not been without insurance for 6 months. But because of getting disability coverage, he was eligible for Medicaid. We found a brain cancer center to go to at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, and we were there about 4.5 months. He had the surgery. We had to rent an apartment there and cover those costs, and they put him on IV antibiotics twice a day for 47 days, and the cost of that antibiotic alone was $1,000 a day. So it was $47,000. So that tells you a little bit about what medical cost, can be and how they can add up. That was only one aspect of his treatment while we were there. But we finished up he recovered from the surgery, and he did radiation for 6 weeks. And then in mid-June, we were able to come home. And then he took about 6 weeks off, and then he was able to start chemo. We were lucky enough that a local group here in town decided to have a barbecue for us on Josh's behalf, and they raised $11,000. Well, that $11,000 paid for 1 round of chemo, and we were able to pay USA Hospital about $4,000. So we were very, very grateful, because now we were back to no insurance. He had received a letter that said that they had received his employment history in. The good news was that his disability was going to go up because of his income, his previous income. The bad news was it was going to put him over the Medicaid threshold. So once again, when we came back to Mobile, he had no insurance. So he started his chemo, and we were able to pay for the first round, but then he was only able to do 2 other rounds after that, and then his blood counts just tanked, and it took 2 years actually for the blood counts to come back up. But he, during this time when he did not have any insurance, he had 2 hospitalizations. He had 4 emergency room visits, and these were all for either multiple seizures, falls that resulted from seizures. So once we got through, we started checking with the Affordable Care Act, and they said open enrollment will be in October. At least we had a date where we thought, okay, he's going to have insurance. We were able to enroll in the Affordable Care Act for the Affordable Care Act insurance, and he would be able to start on it that next February 1st. We just never had a bump with it. It was wonderful insurance. It was affordable to him. They covered all of his needs. They covered his hospitalizations. They covered his meds. They covered any tests that he needed. We were very, very happy with our Affordable Care Act insurance. It's covered everything, and we're happy with it. I'm just so happy for the people that have been able to get insurance under the Affordable Care Act with pre-existing conditions, because for us, I mean, he would owe hundreds of thousands of dollars if it had not been for the Affordable Care Act. I just hope that the Affordable Care Act doesn't go away for people, because with all the protections in there for people that are really, really sick, it can mean the difference for some of them between life and death.